Confidential. I am Shannon, your host, and with me is my lovely, wonderful daughter, Taylor,
Hello.
who is my co-host and a bit chilly. She's got a blanket on. And today, our podcast, well, first of all, Shannon Confidential is a podcast about life, love, and everything in between. And everything in between goes for everybody, man, woman, child. Doesn't matter your race, doesn't matter your financial situation, doesn't matter, your religion, whatever. We're all in this world together. We all have problems. We have family problems, financial problems, friend problems. Sometimes I have child problems, and sometimes life is just great and we have great times. Whatever it is, you're not in it alone. There's always somebody that's going through what you're going through. So we're just here to talk about things that you may have experienced or may not have, and just let you know we're all in this together. And today's episode is flying solo. And there's two reasons why I want to do this episode. One, because I'm so proud of my daughter for what she has been able to accomplish in her time being allowed to travel solo. And if you are a parent and you have a child who travels alone, especially when she's a girl and traveling, and I'm not talking like road trip to, 2 hours away. She leaves the country. And if you've seen the movie Taken, it is like a complete and utter nightmare. I remember one time when the first time she was going to travel, I was like, you have to watch the movie Taken. Don't get in a taxi. No one knows anybody. You just can't, because you'll be trafficked and I will never see you again. So I'm not saying it gets any easier, because it really doesn't. Any parent knows that. But you do have to believe that you gave your child, and in my case, my daughter, the skills to be confident enough to travel alone. And she's just beyond her skill level. She's like one of those old souls that just was always beyond her years. So Taylor has, and I'm going to let her take over on this, but Taylor has traveled how many countries?
By myself, 4.
4 countries by herself. How many in the States?
I've been to almost every state.
She's been to almost every...
But alone, I don't know. I usually do them in road trips, so a few.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. So, and she's, gets on a plane, does, gets on the next plane, goes across the country, decides she wants to stay another day, refocuses all her stuff. If she doesn't tell you the one story about what happened when she ended up walking through the jungle to try to find food, that's a whole other story. Anyway, I'm going to let her talk about this, because I think it is so important that as females, when the world is crazy enough for us, that doesn't mean you can't live your life. That doesn't mean you can't find out who you are. That doesn't mean you can't leave your home. And Taylor has done it to the umpteenth level, and it still baffles me. But I'm going to let her talk about it, because I think it's an amazing thing, an amazing, amazing example to show girls her age, women, it doesn't matter what age you are, that you can do it. And it's incredibly exciting. So Taylor, take it away.
So, the reason why I wanted to travel alone is because I didn't want to feel like I couldn't do something unless someone did it with me. I get very depressed if I feel like my life is being held back from me. So I started traveling alone. I was 20, so 3 years ago.
Taken. I'm scared.
I've been to Colombia, London, France, and Italy by myself. And I had the best time, just not really in Colombia. That wasn't a really good time. But
you gotta tell the Colombia trip, just so you could see the mother side of it, where you panic.
I think this was actually the first time that I left the country by myself.
Well, you were supposed to go someplace else, but then the government shut down. So I was, because of riots.
I was like, are you
kidding me?
I was looking online, I looked at flights, and the flights to Nicaragua were super cheap.
When the government was they were at war.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm going to Nicaragua. I was like, no.
Well, I got this amazing Airbnb that was a huge villa, on on a cliff, overlooking the ocean. I had an infinity pool. I couldn't get there. Once I try to figure out the arrangement of the shuttle, because I always want to book that in advance of who's going to take you from the airport to wherever you're staying. No one was available because they had the airport barricaded because there's a civil war at that time
Let's go to Nicaragua.
In Nicaragua. So I called the airline. I'm like, hey, I didn't know about this. So,
This war.
What can we do here? And they're like, oh, you could change your flight. I'm like, okay, well, how about Colombia? Like, I've never been to Colombia. Like, I've heard beautiful things about Colombia.
Because that's what we normally do. Just how about Colombia?
And so I ended up going to Colombia, and I booked an Airbnb, and I went there for just 2 nights, or it was 2 nights.
It seemed like eternity as a mother.
It might have been 3 nights. I think it was 3 nights, actually. And I wasn't planning on leaving my Airbnb because the Airbnb that I booked
Wasn't it a tree or something?
It was like a 3-story tree house, but I had a chef there. Like, that was going to make me breakfast.
She does all this through Airbnb. It's amazing.
Yeah. So this is actually the only bad experience I had with Airbnb. I've been using Airbnb since 14. And I haven't booked a hotel in God knows how long. I've only used Airbnb. And I booked it the day before. So this is a very spontaneous trip. And I booked the Airbnb the day before.
Which makes it scarier for a parent.
And the Airbnb host, they have to acknowledge and accept the request. And they did. So I thought they knew I was coming. But I don't think they realized the date of that was coming the next day. So
that's called reading the confirmation.
Yeah. So the whole goal of this vacation was just to be by myself, just be in a treehouse, read a book, go walk down to the beach. I didn't want to be in a city. I didn't want to interact with anyone. Like, the whole purpose was just be by myself. And so I'm flying there, and like, I get really drunk on the flight, and
because that's safe, right?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Going to a country you've never been to before.
But so I got like really drunk on that flight, and then like I land and I get some more beers because
she's thirsty.
But like I had to, once I landed from the airport in Cartagena, I had to then take a shuttle, like a bus, to Santa Marta, and that's about 4 hours away from Cartagena. And then from there, I thought I was going to be in like walking distance, or in like the same kind of distance to get to the Airbnb, but I kind of miscalculated that, and like
by like 1,000 miles.
By like 2 hours. So I got a taxi, and I was so dehydrated. I hadn't had anything to eat that day. Like, I was just like sweating. Like, it was so gross.
That was miserable.
And like, I just really wanted to be at this treehouse.
And when she's hangry, oh Lord.
Such an asshole.
Yeah.
So I walked to like the cab place, and like no one speaks English there, and I don't speak a lick of Spanish.
Shocking.
And this is like
South Florida. How do you not speak a lick of Spanish?
Yeah, I know. Well, I failed Spanish 3 times in high school. I didn't have a good Spanish teacher. She didn't want me to learn Spanish. She sent me to internal suspension every single day. That's a different story. But so I get to like the taxi place, and I'm like explaining like where I need to go, and like, I had the address, like I had the Airbnb host WhatsApp, I had their phone number, I had their email, and I had their regular phone number. So I'm messaging them on Airbnb, they're not answering. I'm messaging them WhatsApp, they're not answering. Their regular number, they're not answering. Their email, they're not answering. I'm like, okay, like, what's going on here? Like,
well,
why aren't they answering?
Now I am thinking, like Taylor, she was supposed to be at her Airbnb for her check-in with me well before this. So now she's delayed because she doesn't realize it's so far. And she's hangry, and she's a little bit coming out of being intoxicated, which makes for a very pleasant girl. And I'm trying to be like, where are you? She's like, I don't have time to talk right now. I haven't heard back. I'm trying to get in touch with my Airbnb, and they're not answering. And I'm thinking, dear God, she is trying to get to an Airbnb. Wasn't it at night?
It was at night.
It was at night. They're not answering. She's in Colombia. Not there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just saying. It's the mother's worst nightmare. And she's giving me attitude. Not good. So go ahead.
Santa Marta actually isn't a safe city at all. Like, it's actually very dangerous. No, it is.
Promo.
It is. It is. It's not safe. I would never walk around there.
So you get to your Airbnb.
So we like
Allegedly.
I'm in the taxi with like a guy, the driver's like in like his like 20s. He stops and he picks up a friend. So right then I'm like thinking like, oh God, it's happening.
Here we go. I'm being traffic.
It's happening. Like
It's happening.
and we're just driving and driving and driving, and they're like, you know, we couldn't talk, but they had like the Google Translate. So like we're communicating, like they seemed nice, but they weren't flirty, like it wasn't uncomfortable, like it was actually like just two dudes, just that's just
what they do.
Normal there, I guess, but whatever. So we're driving, it's 10:30 at night now. I've been flying since like the morning, and we finally find the Airbnb. We had to like drive back and forth like 8 times because it was like hidden like off a dirt road. Like we're in the middle of nowhere now. We're like literally in cartel territory right now. We are in the middle of nowhere. We're 2 hours away from any city, any town. Like there's no gas stations. Like there's nothing. So I'm at the Airbnb and I finally get there and all the lights are off. I'm like, okay, maybe they're sleeping. It's like 11 o'clock now, and no one's there. I'm knocking on the doors and no one's there. So I had to, like, luckily the top floor wasn't locked properly and I was able to rip the door open.
Breaking and entering in Colombia.
I paid for it.
I'm gonna go visit my daughter who's in life in prison in Colombia.
So,
now you have to understand, I'm getting text messages that are just riddled with appropriate language. So I am just beyond myself freaking out.
So you somehow got those messages. I still don't know how you got those messages because I didn't have any phone service. So I didn't have phone service. I had no water. There was no running water at this Airbnb. There was massive.
This isn't even the scariest part.
Spiders, and there was massive ants everywhere. The mattresses were covered in plastic. There was no mosquito net. Like there was no sheets on the bed. Like it was just like a ghost town there. And like the taxi driver was like, "Are you good?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Just if you get me some water and some weed, like I'll appreciate it." So he got me it, and he did. And he was really nice about it. He's like, "Do you need me to like stay here with you?" I'm like, "No, like it's good, but thank you so much."
Because I could stay and scuttle. We could spoon.
Yeah. So he laughed and like he was really nice and like I still had his number and everything. And then so I
identify the body.
so I break into a cabinet that you just sense like had like the mosquito net and the sheets and the whatever.
This looks like safety.
Yeah. So it had everything. So I set up my bed. It is so hot. The fan wouldn't turn on. Like I had water and like I was able to pass out, but I woke up like bright and early in the morning. Like the sun I woke up sweating bullets and I had no phone service. And the outlets there wouldn't work, so I couldn't charge my phone. So I had to like really spare my battery. I had to walk 3 miles down a dirt road in cartel territory to find a shack
through trees and shrubbery
that was made out of literally washed up debris of plastic. And they're just like slaughtering, like they had like 3 chickens hanging, like 3 fish hanging. It was just like literal like 5x5 shack. And I'm like, cafe!
Hey,
like, where's the cafe? Like, I need cell service. Like, yeah, Starbucks around here. And they're like all looking, then they look at me, they're like, what is this white girl doing here? And they're like, what? Like, eh?
Okay.
And I'm like, cafe! You know, cafe! So they're like, oh, cafe! And I'm like, that way. They're like,
cafe.
Yeah, that way. I'm like, gracias. So,
Spanish.
So I keep on walking, I'm walking, and I finally find like this like restaurant that it didn't look like they actually served food there, but they did. And I just kind of pointed to something at the menu because I couldn't read it, and I got like this like weird plate brought out to me, but I ate it because they had cell service there, and I had to like be like a paying customer to like use their Wi-Fi. So I call Airbnb. They apologized profusely, gave me a full refund for everything, got me a taxi out of there, paid for my lunch, got me a really nice villa in the middle of...
Down by the beach, closer to the beach.
Yeah, I didn't leave it though. So, because it was in Santa Marta, and you don't want to walk around Santa Marta, and I had 15% on my cell, and I couldn't charge my phone because the outlets aren't strong enough. So I had to save my battery, and I only would walk on one block that I knew, and I would only go because I realized when I went to Colombia that I don't like Colombian food. So I found the place that had ceviche tacos and margaritas, and that's what I had for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 2 days. And yeah, that was my Colombia story. But Europe, even in Colombia, like when I was walking down the street, Bella, 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 like people would grab my hand, help me down the stairs. Like no one was creepy.
Really?
No one was weird. Like no one followed me. Like it's not as bad and as scary as you.
I'm a dog.
Hi, come here. It's not as bad and as scary as like you would think it is. And when I'm in Europe, especially, no one bothers me there.
Really?
No one, not one.
I heard they don't bother you because they hate Americans, but
Well, I tell
I'm
them
just saying what I heard. I'm not saying that's true.
it is true.
Okay.
It is true, and I tell them I'm Canadian. But
Whatever works.
I literally walk down the street, but they're just so used to seeing like a girl walk. Like it's very normal. Like in Europe, people go on holidays right after high school for like a year.
So girls walking around alone is normal there.
Normal.
Where here, you're a victim or potential victim.
Now, mind you, like not to downplay it, but sex trafficking is a huge problem, and it happens way more than anyone would ever think.
Yes, it does.
But in my personal experience, I guess I haven't put myself in those situations where I would be an easy target. I always walk around like I know where I'm going, even
Walk
if I
with
don't.
confidence, yes.
I'm a very confident person already, and I think that projects. And
like what else do you do to stay safe when you're by yourself traveling?
Don't carry around a map. Just look at, if you want to look at your phone, look at it quickly. Don't be on your phone. Don't look down constantly. Always be aware of your surroundings. I mean, any girl knows to do this, like regardless, like on just a regular day walking down the aisles in Publix,
True.
I get harassed more in a grocery store in America than I do a week walking down the streets in Italy or France or
Which
Amsterdam,
is so
anywhere
sad,
else.
but good.
So it is sad, but I guess the best advice that I could give anyone that's traveling by themselves, or especially a girl, is enjoy it. Like it's such a privilege, and it's such a cool thing to do, to be somewhere and be like, I got myself here. I'm here by myself. I'm enjoying myself. I coordinated all of this, and I'm living my life to the fullest, and I didn't need anyone by my side to do it.
Good for
So
you. Very proud of you.
Just be mindful. I don't go to clubs or like super packed places by myself. I go to nice restaurants, or I go to like museums, and I like doing that stuff. I'm not putting myself, I don't think, in an environment that would be where my drink can get drugged. I'm at a table, and like, I'm not leaving my drink,
Don't leave your drink.
But I've met amazing people traveling. You got to feel out the vibe, if they don't seem like they're cool, then, you would pick up on that. I pick up on vibes very easily. So I've met tons of amazing people that I'm still in contact with, and some of them we don't even speak the same language. We have to like Google Translate everything that we say, and that's just like the coolest thing ever to me. Is I could go on the other side of the world and still make connections and still just live life to my fullest. So just don't be scared. Be smart. Have a plan. If you're a girl, you just have to. You have to just, unfortunately, be okay, not okay, but accept that you're not going to have as easy of a time as a guy would.
You gotta be smart.
Just don't be scared. The independence and like, how proud I am of myself from doing that. Like,
proud mom,
I like, that gives me a sense of purpose, because I don't know. I guess I started doing it out of a bad relationship, and like I was kind of down, and like I felt really bad about myself, and like I felt like I wasn't gonna be able to do anything or go anywhere, and my life was over. And it's not. You're in control of it, and you can literally go anywhere in the world, and you take yourself out to dinner. Like, even if
Start
you're
here.
in your
Start here.
hometown,
You don't
like,
even have to hop on a plane. Start here.
Go sit somewhere by yourself and enjoy a meal by yourself. Order a glass of wine and just
It's not
Well,
weird,
people watch.
ladies. It's confidence.
It's not weird.
Learn to
And
be comfortable
The
with yourself.
reason why people think it's weird is because you don't see it, and you don't see it because we as women in America, and I will not speak for myself, and I say that proudly, lack ridiculous amount of confidence. If you are so confident in who you are, no one else's opinion matters. Never did, it never will. Go to dinner, have a glass of wine, be comfortable in your own skin, be confident, and whoever's judging you, remember this, they're only judging their weakness. So if they're judging you for being alone at a table having a glass of wine, it's because that's their weakness and they could never do it. So they're going to judge you for it. So remember that. You only get judged on their weakness.
I just don't understand how anyone could judge that, like, period. I mean, I think it's really
I
awesome.
judge it all, but anyway.
But, you know, I just do it. Just go live your life. Like, just do it. Like, no, you're not gonna, tomorrow's not guaranteed. Like, next year's not guaranteed. You don't know if you're gonna be married with the kids. Like, you can't really do that when you're a mom and a wife. Like, you know, and that's not necessarily the goal, but I don't know. I'm not the same person I was after every trip I take. I just fall more in love with myself, and I just change.
Isn't that awesome?
You know, you need to do stuff like that. So that's my advice.
Proud of this girl. So proud of her. And I hope all of you have learned something today. Feel free to connect with us if you want any ideas, or maybe your daughter or your family member might be thinking about traveling and you want some helpful tips. We're here to help you out. But in any case, thank you for being with us. Now we are at our Be Kind quote of the day, and I thought this one, it was kind of funny, but it actually makes sense. We're talking about my daughter traveling by herself, and any parent who's ever watched the movie Taken with Liam Neeson knows very well what I am about to say. I'm going to do an edited version, but this quote speaks volumes of what I would do if I ever found out that my daughter, while traveling, was taken.
Listen up.
And I would say, but what I do have are a very particular set of skills I have acquired over a very long career, skills that make me a nightmare for people like you.
Dun, dun, dun.
Thank you. We are now at our Style Secret segment. And the Style Secret is when I have something or my friend has something that they've done, used, whatever it is, and I try to share it, pay it forward, so then you get the opportunity to use it, do it, whatever. So I am going to very quickly flash you my razor. Okay, so this is a used one, but it's a razor by Vera Bradley. And the reason I'm going to share this with you is, well, hopefully Matthew's not watching. If you're like me, your man's razor is the best razor.
The best.
It shaves you down to you have been waxed or had hair removal. It's amazing how a man's razor shaves better than any other razor in the world. So I was shopping one day at Target and I saw this Vera Bradley razor. Now, yes, it was pretty and all, and it worked well. But the best part is it's metal. It's metal. It's you could, take it off, add your new, hopefully I don't slice myself, add your new blade on, but it's metal, so it's heavy. And the one thing about a man's razor is they're metal. They don't get those plastic little dainty things that we get. It's a metal razor, so you could feel it in your hand. There's some weight to it, and I love that. So when I saw this and it was metal, this is my not guy razor that works like a guy's razor. So I am style secreting my Vera Bradley razor. It's awesome. Thank you. I love hearing from all of you, all of my followers, and now Taylor's followers, that she's my new guest host. If you have any questions for us, episode that we have covered, episode that you would like to hear us cover, please, nothing's off limits. Porn maybe, but just send it to us. You can send your confidential questions.
Honestly, it's 2020.
Shannon Confidential 007@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. You can always follow follow me on social media, and my Facebook is Shannon Confidential. Instagram is Shannon_confidential. Twitter is Shannon Confide 7. YouTube, Shannon Confidential, and Apple Podcast, Shannon Confidential. Contact me, follow me. The numbers are what makes a difference when you're podcasting. So follow me, follow me, follow me. Thank you. I cannot tell you how excited I am. My merchandise, that what I'm wearing today, is by Dar's Designs. She makes, this is called her slouchy sweatshirt because it's a little slouchy, flash dancey kind of thing. She makes t-shirts, tank tops, everything that you have seen. I've put the pictures up. I'll put more up. But this is her slouchy sweatshirt, Shannon Confidential, and out of the goodness of her heart and just for fun, she made this sweatshirt for me. 2020 sucks. And if you didn't know this, because I saw it, but not everybody sees it, 2020 is giving you the finger in a ladylike way. Just saying. But that's at Dar's Designs. I'll link you up. Thank you.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.